What was the worst job design project ever?
What do you mean by worst?
In your opinion, the worst?
Well, I don't think any of them I could say were the worst. Some were more difficult than others. Uh, Try to think if you. Boy, I can't think of anything I could classify as worst. Uh, like I said, some were more difficult, but I wouldn't say that makes them worse. Worse to me is something went wrong with the job or was negative or something of that nature. I can't remember anything like that. I know some were much more demanding. I know from a personal um, time demand, for instance. Uh, I guess the worst part of any job would be hitting the deadlines. Um, and I know that, for instance, we had a series. We did a series of school projects for Detroit schools. We did what was called I don't know what they did. There was a name for this the type of schools. They were like trade schools for the city of Detroit, and we did one, two. We did the health services one, and we did the aerospace center or aeronautical services. I think those were two. And the state of Michigan was involved in financing them. And I remember it was an Easter weekend, and I literally spent the entire Easter weekend in the office finishing up the job because the superintendent was leaving that Monday morning up to the state and had to take the job with him and to get it approved by the state. And I know that was a tight schedule. I don't know how many hours I worked that weekend, but it seemed like I don't know if I even came home to eat. I just literally worked till we got it. We got it done, by the way, and we brought it in under budget. The first one we did was the health services one, which is down on Warren, and there were 5 of them, I think, altogether that had to be built. And the district decided that they would award one to each to a different architect. Each one would get one. So we got the first one, and at that time I think there was like $50 million was the budget for all 5 of them. That was a long time ago. And so like 10 million apiece. And I remember we brought ours in at, I think, over 8,300,000, if I remember correctly. And then we heard no more. They went ahead with and did the rest of them, and they got to the 5th one, and there was no money left. Not 10 million wasn't left because the others were overran their budgets, and we had brought ours in under, so they picked up whatever we saved plus overspent, and the last one was the aeronautical one, and so one day we get a letter in the mail literally awarding us the project without question. And so we got the project. We sat down, met with them, and asked them, how come we got two of them? And they said, well, you're the only guys who can bring it in under budget, and we don't have enough money left. You got to bring this one in with X number of dollars. I think it was 6 million something, and or no, it wasn't that much. No, it was 4 million something. And anyway, we brought it in, and that was out at the old city airport. They had an aero school out there. Unfortunately, they closed that school about a year or so ago. But I understand now they're going to reopen it again, and the program. Anyway, yeah, those were interesting projects too. We like to incorporate art in the schools, and I remember Leonard had a friend who was a sculptor, and the health services school in the concourse, we wanted to place a piece of sculpture in there, and the sculptor designed a sculpture made out of thick aluminum plates, about 6-8 feet tall, it was big stuff. And the school was really, really reluctant to put it in because they thought the kids would damage it and vandalize it. And they put it in, and it turned out to be interesting because the kids found out that if they hit it with their pencil, it would ding, it would make a little ding noise, and you could hear them walk down the hall, and you could hear ding, ding, somebody walking by, ding, ding. And they didn't know it, they didn't damage it or anything, but they used to always hit it with their pencil. That was interesting too, because as part of that job, the students there, many of them didn't have, they came from very poor backgrounds. A lot of them are black, most of them are black. And we had to design showers for them because they didn't have bathing facilities at home. And then we had little locker rooms for them. And each morning they would come in and they would have to put on a white lab coat because they were in health services. And it was amazing what that did to the decorum in a school, because it made them feel like they were professionals. They all had these white lab coats on. It was interesting.